Hello everyone, Morgan here. So I've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole today about the US possibly losing its reserve currency status. And if you ever see me looking over here, it's my notes. And it's mainly because, I'm not an economic expert. So I'm not going to be talking to you today about like the implications and these kinds of things. I'm just going to tell you how to be prepared for it based off of what I've been reading and researching. And then also, just how to generally stay prepared for this kinds of things, because the effects that can happen by the US losing its reserve currency is huge. But more than that, there's a lot more going on with our administration right now and everything. And again, I'm not going to be getting political, and I'm not going to be talking about super in-depth stuff. I'm going to give you links to some of the things that I've been reading, and I want you to do your own research on this as well, okay? Now, the first thing is, this has been talked about for a couple of years now. So I found an article from 2021 that was also stating, it's going to lose, the dollar will lose the reserve currency status. That was from 2021. I'm currently looking at it. So it's been talked about for a while, okay, since 2021. Here it is, 2023 at the time of making this video. It's been talked about for a while. I think we've been in a slow decline of this as we've been seeing stock market crashes over and over. Now, of course, we see stock market crashes all the time. It's up and down all the time, you know what I mean? US is indebted to a tune of more than $31 trillion. So there's the potential that constant money printing Congress endorsed for the last 15 years could bring down the entire house of cards on its own. Okay, so there's a lot at stake here. And again, with Russia and China and who we've decided to back as an administration and a country and these kinds of things, it's just so much that's happening. So let me get back to here. The dollar has been considered a safe haven. Initially, it was backed by gold, but after President Nixon took the U.S. off the gold standard, there's been no hard asset backing the dollar for the last 50 years. So the US dollar is having the world's currency status has been a real privilege. We've abused that privilege by wholly recklessly monetary and fiscal policy for so many years, certainly over the last couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. Okay, so a couple of things we can do is cover your financial aspects, okay? In investments and anything tied to the stock market, is tied to the US dollar. So your stock portfolio, your 401k, any type of, fiat currency, the minute the US dollar loses its value, your portfolio is going to go down the drain. Okay. The best way to preserve your wealth in these kinds of things is to convert your portfolio into hard liquid assets like gold, silver, any type of hard precious metal like that. Gold and silver are really the best, but there's, if you can afford platinum, more power to you, right? Owning physical gold and silver is one of the really only ways to protect your purchasing power if the dollar becomes useless, right? Or bottoms out, I guess is what this article is quoting. Investing in commodity is not enough to save your wealth. Any hard asset, and I have a link down below that talks about hard assets, but any hard asset is going to be worthwhile to you. Even though, a lot of people are going to argue with me that if you bought this stuff with debt, like with your mortgage and your land and all these things, it's still owned by the government. Great. But these are still hard assets, okay? Your cars, your RV, your land, your house, any other hard assets like books, almost anything could be a hard asset. Your generator, all these things that can help you continue to get by. You know what else is a hard asset? Food and water, having food and water with you. And also a hard asset, skills. Skills never go out of style, you know what I mean? So outside of, investing that gold and silver, like I was just talking about with those hard assets, having things that you can barter and trade with, right? Medicine, any other supplies like outdoor gear, ammo, if that's what you want to trade with, seeds. These are all hard assets, and these are all things that you can barter with. Food and water can also be barterable, if you are growing things and you're preserving things, those things that you preserve or even things that you grow can be barterable. Eggs, all these things. Security is a really big one, maybe not for barter, but security is a huge thing that you really want to amp up, right? To protect all these things. Food and water access, just in general is going to be extremely valuable. We're already seeing huge inflation. And so the problem is it's getting harder for people to already afford things. It just is. We've definitely seen it. And, it's not just because we're here in Alaska, but we were seeing it hardcore even before leaving Alaska. So it's a really important thing to be investing in food and water. All types of food and water, diversify. Okay, you want that canned food, but you also want to learn to hunt and fish. I know there's a huge debate. I'm not interested in the debate on whether hunting and fishing is viable. But you also do want the sustainable of trying to grow your own food, right? Of all kinds, the vegetables, the meat, all these kinds, but also finding local farmers. I've talked about it over and over and over again. Find those local sources, right? If everything goes down the drain, all these, the global economy is coming to a crash, or, just the local US economy, whatever it happens to be, your local farms, your local people and community is where it's going to be at. That's where you're going to be sourcing the majority of things, right? So your local community is going to be invaluable. And then whatever debt you have is still going to follow you into, any type of breakdown, right? Any type of currency reset. The US dollar has had the world reserve status for a while now, right? But it kind of goes, bounces from currency to currency. It used to be Portugal had it for about 80 years. Spain had it for 110 years. The Netherlands had it for 80 years. France had it for 95 years. Great Britain had it for 105 years. Great Britain's date as the reserve currency is debatable, so they say. But anyway, you can see that it kind of bounces back and forth between people, from between 1450 to the 1920s, right? And then the US has had the world reserve. So it bounces back and forth, and one person will take power, another person take power, that kind of thing. If the US loses the power, it's going to have drastic effects. Okay. So we as individuals really need to get prepared on this aspect. And I'm not saying this to fearmonger, and I'm not saying this to put super urgency into you, except for the fact to just continue to tell you to keep prepping. Keep at it. Okay. People have been saying we're almost in a recession. Honestly, we are in a recession, okay? Things are tough for everybody all around. Our food supply is constantly being challenged, with the global powers, the way that everything is happening right now, everything is being challenged right now. And I just want you to be aware that prepping is just more important than ever right now. And again, I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to put that super urgency, fire in your pants of like, let's go into super debt in order to, get prepared. I'm just trying to help you understand that these things are happening, and this is how do we get prepared. So go down to my blog post down below. I also have a free 7-day preparedness course to help you get prepared. Again, link down below in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today, and stay prepared. Bye-bye.